last time out, the interstate literally fell from under our driver's wheels. Massive time gaps were made up, and Death in Flames took an incredible win. Everything is literally up in the air coming into this round, up in the Skyline. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, a series of races up in the sky. This is Skyline. This should really suit the lighter vehicles amongst our field, and at a vital point in the championship could help Death in Flames, Mad Drunk Boy extend their recent good form. We've seen great challenges from Tom Jakes and Kegs in the racing truck and mud plugger respectively, but these courses will not suit their vehicle. So let's see what happens in race 1. So let's begin with race 1 up in the Skyline. All of these courses literally on top of buildings up in the air. This should really suit the lighter vehicles and the vehicles with lower ground clearance, given the harder surfaces that will be racing on. So let's join Death in Flames here in the muscle car off the starting line, up into 10th position after a solid start, going across the start finish for the start of the first lap. And we can see the jumps, the verticality of this race course already causing some issue for some drivers. The buggies in particular should be very strong. There's the Berserker in the buggy, so fast I hadn't seen him until last week. And we have got round the Berserker there on that right hand bend. Death in Flames getting off to a cracking start here on race 1 up in the Skyline. Clearly taking a route he knows well, will work well for this muscle car. Minimal jumps. Unfortunately caught out a little bit there by that glass pane, just again. Not, oh, and goodness gracious me, I'm losing front left wheel in recovery. Unfortunate there, but this is the very brutal nature of Motorstorm. You've got to get those lines right for your vehicles. And here we go, really going up in the air, up on top of these roofs, chasing down Kivy and Top Gear Sam ahead. Looks like for a good solid scrap for 6th and 5th position. Coming over a massive monumental jump down towards this skyscraper, through the windows, over the jumps. Massive airtime to be had. The buggy surely enjoying an advantage. Here we are on board with Tom Jakes in the racing truck. A heavier vehicle may have a few issues here. Currently running in 6th place, just behind Death in Flames, who we can see ahead. Looks like we're going on a slightly lower line. This should suit the heavier vehicles, obviously less jumping involved. And seems to be working so far for Tom, running very, very, very well indeed in the midfield, up into 4th place on this lower line, making it work for the vehicle. And this is, of course, another classic characteristic of Motorstorm racing: knowing your vehicle, knowing what will work for the vehicle, and using that to your fullest. And we can see it's quite a battle here between 5th and 4th place, changing hands repeatedly so far this lap. And oh no, it looks like the high nature of this course has literally caught out Tom. By the looks of it, the back of his chassis is going to have a date with the auto repair shop. But we're back in the action, we're back in action. He's making up ground. Looks like some of the building is taking a bit of damage there. Up into 6th place now, off the jump, up into 5th place, progressing nicely here through the Skyline race course, and just taking the jumps as the racing truck can relatively well. Unfortunately, the weight not going to work to his advantage this week. But having said that, he is holding a solid 5th place in the midfield. Plenty of racing yet to happen. Now we're on board with Project J in the muscle car, currently running an 8th of 12, lap 3 of 4. A lot of ground to cover yet, anything can happen. As you can see, plenty of drivers very close ahead, taking a position there in flight. And we've got Top Gear Sam ahead on the motorcycle, who'll be loving these conditions. The light agility of that bike, no problems on this course. The muscle car, unfortunately, having a few issues there, but Project J is right back on the throttle, getting on with things as we like to see. And in fact, having said that, looks like Top Gear Sam might have had a bit of an issue there. Curse of the commentator, ladies and gentlemen, it is inescapable. So we have Project J making solid ground, taking it well. Looks at a very similar line to Death in Flames, also driving a muscle car. Looks like the muscle cars are sharing route here. Very solid strategy, obviously, using map knowledge to the fullest to try and eke out every possible advantage, and it's working. Up into 6th place now. Up 2 places this lap. Great game so far. And unfortunately, it looks like a bad choice of line across the jumps there. Not much time to react. Looks like the building took its toll there on the front of the muscle car, and then gravity had a nice bit of involvement as well. Fortunately down for 7th, but still has gained positions, gained a little bit of time overall so far. since we came on board here with Project J. And as always, and as you will have seen last week, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, which is important here. And now we're on board with Mad Junk Boy. And look at this, he's almost completing the final lap. The buggy clearly enjoying the conditions, dodging falling skyscrapers, taking all these jumps in its stride. It looks like he isn't even having to work, made it look easy. And across the line in first place, an incredible race. Almost coming up to lap the field, I expect. So what a great race there for Mad Junk Boy and the buggy. 4 minutes 16 seconds, 10 seconds ahead of second place, which was Death in Flames in the muscle car. A great result there. But Mad Junk Boy, a massive lead going into the next round. As we wait for the rest of the field to come in, look at the performance. Here comes Kivy in third. I believe that's his highest finish so far in the competition. Congratulations, Kivy, followed by Tom. And there's Kegs, the current championship leader. Almost a full 30 seconds behind Mad Junk Boy. No doubt he will have work to do to try and gain some time back in later races. The higher, heavier vehicles clearly struggling. Here comes the Berserker in 5th, solid 6th place there. And Project J comes home in 7th in the muscle car. Top Gear Sam in 8th on the motorcycle. And the rest of the field shortly to follow. In fact, here they come. Online Assassin came in 9th there with Black, Red, Yellow in 10th. And that was race 1, ladies and gentlemen, and as expected, Mad Junk Boy and the buggy loved the varied and jumping conditions of the Skyline, taking a massive 10-second lead off one race. With 2 to go, that is quite a daunting gap to make up for the other drivers, but sensational drives from Death in Flames and first time on the podium Kivy95 will surely help them mount their charge for race 2. And here we go in race 2. Looks like some rain has decided to join us here on the race course. And here we go with Tom Jakes off the line, getting a nice platinum trophy. Congratulations there, Tom. Starting in around 7th place and using the weight of his racing truck to his advantage and to his disadvantage. Goodness gracious me. Strong roll cage did its job there, but not quite enough. The race course has literally, absolutely, completely changed. I'm lost for words how much the race course has changed straight off the start. Really challenging conditions here for the drivers, trying to pick their line in a constantly changing environment. Tom, for Tom off the start, not the greatest start, obviously, down into 8th place off the start, but it looks like more carnage with more cars up ahead. There's Kegs, championship leader in the mud plugger just ahead. Absolute carnage off the start, and here we go. More buildings, more devastation being applied to the racetrack. Drivers are really going to have to contemplate their routes now. As I mentioned in the last race, the unique aspect of Motorstorm racing is using the vehicle's natural abilities to its fullest, and in a constantly changing environment, that may mean constantly changing your routes, so who knows. Looks like Tom's going for a high line here though, using all of the rooftops available. Here we are on board with Death in Flames in the muscle car, currently running in first position, using routes at similar lines to the previous race on this course. Vaguely speaking, it's a very similar course to the last race, but of course the course has changed right at the start of this race. And goodness gracious me, there's Mad Junk Boy. We are dueling here, ladies and gentlemen, for first and second place. Only lap 2 of 4, plenty of ground still to cover. This looks like it's going to be a super battle here for supremacy in this round. Looks like so far though that Death in Flames has got a handle on the situation, using his muscle cars sheer speed over the solid surfaces here to make some ground. But look at that, Mad Junk Boy's not far behind. Clearly on a roll from his victories last week on the interstate, looking to make even more ground. He's in a battle overall in the championship table with Tom, only 4 points between these two drivers, and as it so happens 4 points between Death in Flames and Kegs for the overall win. All very close coming in to the final few heats. Here we go into lap 3, not much ground between Death in Flames and Mad Junk Boy. A sterling race to be had ahead, and it looks like the buggy so far is starting to draw a slight gap. There's a little bit of extra soft suspension clearly working here in the uneven, jumpy terrain. Now, here we are on board with Project J, talking of uneven terrain, yet more jumps here for the muscle car to contend with, but it is handling it like a boss. Currently in 4th place, a Sterling race going on here for the podium spots, and unfortunately it looks like the car got stuck there on that jump, and the front axle has been removed by force. Unfortunate, only lost 1 position though, still all to play for. Chasing down the next vehicle, it looks like it's a motorcycle. I want to say it's Top Gear Sam on the motorcycle, in fact. We'll see in a second. Yes, oh, it's Top Gear Sam. Yes, I was right. Fantastic, I'm learning. Moving into the third of four laps here, and looks like we've had a car pass underneath. That might be Kegs, it might be if I recognise the logo there. All to play for in this race. And we can see the multiple lines you can take on these courses really taking effect here. And this is one of the unique traits of the Skyline set of race courses. Project J sticking to the reliable line for the muscle car, which we've seen in this race and last race, and it's doing very nicely for him. 5th, currently out of 12 places, coming to the final lap, and sure enough it was Kegs in the mud plugger, putting up a supreme effort in the mud plugger. The heavy vehicle not suited here, and unfortunately it looks like the muscle car is going to become street pizza. Oh dear, Project J got just caught out there, perhaps a little bit of power coming through rear wheels off the jump. Unfortunate there, but not lost too much ground, still in 5th place. And here we are with Mad Drunk Boy still in the lead, coming around the final few sections here to complete this race. Very, very close here, probably with Death in Flames still, and Mad Drunk Boy clearly, excuse the pun, on a roll, taking every single possible advantage here for the buggy, coming towards the line. A sensational win, 2 in a row, extending his time lead over all the other drivers, still waiting for the next car to come in. Massive ground, another 10 seconds approximately. Sensational racing for Project J, I should say. Amazing effort so far, and as we wait for the leaderboard, here we come. Death in Flames did indeed come in second, 9 and a bit seconds, nearly 10 seconds behind them at Drunk Boy. Tom Jakes in the racing truck, a supreme effort, a further 7 or so seconds behind Death in Flames there in the muscle car, and Kegs in the mud plugger, making a bit of time back there, only 4 seconds behind Tom. Then we followed in by the rest of the field. We have Project J in the muscle car coming home in 5th. And yet again, Mad Drunk Boy in that buggy adds another massive 10-second gap to his lead. Surely he cannot be caught now in the 3rd and final race. Another sensational race there from the buggy driver. But let's not count out the sensational performances put in by Kegs11 and Tom Jakes in the heavier vehicles. These courses should not suit those heavy vehicles, but wise choices of line and being at the right place in the right time, of course, clearly paid off. Let's see if that can happen again in race 3. Here we go with the next round here on Skyline. Yet again, the environment has had quite a bit of deformation. Racecourse constantly evolving. A few new jumps added in by the engineers. Looks like we've got a little bit of a water feature as well. Well, let's get this race going though. Despite the constantly changing conditions, we're on board with Project J off the start in the muscle car. Unfortunately not the fastest of start, but now the boost is flowing. He's going to be making ground considerably. As we can see, the engineers have had to put in a new jump to jump the now fallen skyscraper. We've got a tanker stuck in the racecourse now. That's clearly going to be a bit of an issue for the cleanup crew. But it's all go off the start, and Project J has had a storming start up into 3rd position off that slightly slow start, get away from the line. And we've got Mad Drunk Boy and Tom Jakes battling for 2nd and 1st position, with Project J not far behind. Looks like we've got a cracker here, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of contact from Tom, and goodness gracious me, Tom has not forgotten his wrecking skills. He has hit that muscle car out the way, and goodness gracious me, they've already collided yet again. Looks like Tom got it wrong there on the jump, and the vehicle went straight into the drink. My, it's all action off the start. Unfortunately, Project J has lost some valuable ground there, and goodness gracious me, he's been hit again. It's all go here in this race, and unfortunately it looks like an unfortunate respawn has put him into the drink yet again. Well, at least he'll get his muscle car clean. Here we are on board with Death in Flames in the muscle car, coming through to complete lap 1 in 5th position. It's all go here, ladies and gentlemen. The field is very close together, and the muscle car enjoying its little bit of pace there off the jump, getting a colossal jump in. over what can only be described as a deteriorating city below. Here we are with Tom Jakes just ahead in second position in the racing truck. Looks like maybe having a few issues with the jump there, but he seems to have survived it, and looks like Death in Flames is bringing the fight to Tom here in the race, and of course the overall championship. All important time, ladies and gentlemen, is what is important here. Anything could happen in the next race, or this race, for want of a better analysis. So Death in Flames has got by Tom there though, a supreme overtake, avoiding Tom using the weight of his racing truck, as we have seen, to clear himself a path and clear himself some space. Death in Flames having none of that, powering through, taking the high line yet again, onto these buildings, and coming round the right-hander towards the start-finish for the second time. We'll be moving on to lap 3 of 4, and we'll see if we can chase down the car ahead. Could it be Mad Drunk Boy again in the buggy? Who knows? Seems to be doing very well here. On board with Tom though, we're not done here. There is still a fight to be had. Tom in the racing truck, bringing it to Death in Flames. Looks like we've got a solid fight here between these two for the next few laps for the podium positions. Although it might be a jolly good scrap, actually, by these two battling each other, they will be costing themselves time, as is inevitable in racing. When you start focusing on your opponent, you stop focusing on your lines, you will lose a bit of time. So this could be all important for whoever is in first position right now, or the field behind. Anything could happen in this race, ladies and gentlemen. We might have a building collapse for all we know. Plenty to happen, all to play for, coming into the final lap in a moment. All to play for in the times, and of course the overall points as well. Looks like Tom's opting for the lower line again. Wise choice given the heavier vehicle. Coming around the right-hander here to start the final lap in this race. And yet more airtime. It's quite something, the amount of punishment these cars will take, but it looks like Death in Flames may have had an issue in second place. It's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. We could have a challenge for second place. Looks like we've got a great scrap here for the final and second podium position, and obviously time overall. But we really must ask ourselves, who is in first? Who haven't we seen? It could be anyone. Well, speak of the devil, it was Mad Drunk Boy. Look at that. A colossal lead, nearly a whole, if you will, quarter of the circuit lead to Death in Flames in the muscle car. The buggy clearly enjoying these conditions. And as we come around the right-hander for the final time, it's another fantastic win there for Mad Drunk Boy. 3 out of 3 so far. Fantastic effort. And by the looks of it, there was another buggy or something going across there. Was that a lap car by the looks of it? It was. An impressive display there by Mad Drunk Boy. Super effort. So a 4:24 for Mad Drunk Boy this race, followed by a 4:39 for Death in Flames, followed by a 4:40 there for Tom. That rounds out the top 3. Very close between these 3 drivers as we wait for the rest of the field to come in. Now, as we can see here, just a consistent, clean race can win you valuable seconds overall. Kivy, another super performance, came home in 4th position overall, 4 minutes 52, followed by the Berserker, a 4:57, and Kegs, a 5:03 in the Mudplugger, clearly struggling in these conditions. It's to be expected. And it's 3 out of 3, ladies and gentlemen. Mad Drunk Boy in the buggy, relishing the conditions here up in the Skyline. Another sensational race, and another 15 seconds to the nearest car means that he has undoubtedly won this week. Another sterling performance though from Death in Flames and Tom Jakes have put them up in contention though for the overall standings this week. Let's see how they pan out. And as expected, Mad Drunk Boy does indeed take this week's heat win in majestic fashion, but Death in Flames takes second position just ahead of Tom in the racing truck, and a super performance this week by Kivy brings him home in 4th, and this has serious ramifications for the overall table, with Death in Flames now taking the lead overall with 1 round to go. Kegs 11, after a solid performance in the Mudplugger, comes in and now in second place with 93 points, and Mad Drunk Boy has taken the advantage to Tom in their little battle. Well, as I mentioned, with only 1 more heat to go, anything could happen. The battles may be raging, but everything can change out at the Rock.